out, one of the common threads between you and Gianni is Frank Sinatra. Frank Sinatra was the godfather to one of your children, and this is the Frank Sinatra room.
He made this restaurant famous. He met my grandfather 2 years before we opened. He had another restaurant called the Sorrento. One of the people that followed him around was a man named Tommy Dorsey. So one day, Tommy Dorsey came to congratulate my father on his restaurant, and he says, listen, I got this skinny kid from Hoboken. You got to fatten him up for me. And that's when he met Frank Sinatra in 1942, 2 years before we opened. And he's been a part of our lives even to this day. It's amazing.
Well, AJ, his granddaughter's here a lot.
We still see her. As a matter of fact, we're going to do part of our 75th anniversary. We're going to dedicate this room as the room her grandfather always partied with and had a great time. And AJ's going to come, and maybe we'll have her cut a ceremonial ribbon or sing a song or something
Nancy's
like that.
daughter.
That's the granddaughter of Frank, Nancy's
Frank,
daughter.
AJ.
She's a very sweet woman.
Yeah.
Well, Sinatra always came here, but there were times when you went to see him. Your father, in particular, lost sleep in his kitchen, didn't he?
Oh, that's absolutely, it's so funny. The night before Frank Sinatra married Mia Farrow, he was asked to cook for them. About 11 o'clock, he said to Mr. Sinatra, he says, I want to go back to the restaurant. He says, no, I need you for a few more minutes. He forgot about him. About 4 in the morning, my father was in the kitchen falling asleep in the dark. Frank came in his bathrobe, and he opens the refrigerator, and you know how the light comes on? He sees my father. He says, Joe, what are you doing here? He says, Frank, you told me not to leave. I'm not going to leave until you tell me to leave. So.
What can you tell us about the Gianni Russo that you know?
Gianni's a wonderful man, a family man, loves tradition, never forgot where he came from, all the success, all the great things he's done. The epitome of a wonderful Italian-American classic man who made it well.
Thank you.
You were speaking about The Godfather. Francis Ford Coppola was known to have the cast eat together. The conversations that you had at the dinner table must have been amazing.
Coppola's idea of what you're talking about is getting the people together. Most of the cast were not Italian. Jamie Kahn, Robert Duvall. Brando was Polish. So he needed us to exaggerate, and that's what he wanted to do. So he thought food, and most Italian families always were together at the dinner table. And that's how we did it for a week, just to get that familiarity so that everybody could pick up on it. And we'd read the whole script, but no acting. With the eating and mimicking, so you get it as a second nature, and talking with your hands.
My friends and I always try and do trivia from The Godfather to figure out things. And you told me one thing a while ago that I stumped almost 99% of everyone with.
Oh, yeah. Who is the only female that played a male part, and as she went on in her career, won an Oscar besides? Sofia Coppola. She played my baby when we baptized her. Eileen and Francis just had the baby, so they used the baby. But it was Sofia Coppola, and she played Michael.
The scene in when they baptized the church. Yeah.
That's her. The other one that's a good one. Who's the only black guy that had a speaking role in the movie?
Who was it?
Tony, the stable boy for Waltz, the director. When Barbara Duvall and him were walking through the stable.
Yeah.
What else do you got?
My father's godfather started Gem Oil. And Gem Oil was, in the second one, is Genco Oil.
Right.
And Mario Puzo was a customer here. And he said he based it on some of the people he met here at Patsy's Italian Restaurant. I don't know if you knew, they were going to film one of the scenes when they killed Luca Brasi. And they stabbed us, in the hand, and then they choke him from behind. They're going to film it downstairs at the bar. And my grandfather says, you can't do that, Dad. And I said, why, Mr. Patsy? He said, people are going to be eating spaghetti and meatballs thinking that guy choking to death. They're not going to be happy.
We did most of that in the St. Regis Hotel. A lot of the interiors, the staircase, at the end when they was killing everybody, most of that was done in that hotel.
Gianni, you've been tortured, escaped assassination, but you're saying one of the hardest things you had to do was put a padlock on your club.
Yeah, I opened State Street. We used to open at 6 o'clock in the afternoon to 6 in the morning. 12 hours a day, had its own casino. But the state actually asked me if I could just relax for a while, because it was getting so embarrassing, all the things that were going on there. And everybody was writing to them saying, why did you get away with all this? What I did to that gentleman was in self-defense. And plus, I saved the lady's life. I didn't go just shoot the guy in the head. There's a funny thing. I got a letter from John Gotti from prison. I guess he wanted the warden to read the letter. And he wrote to me, he says, I never killed anybody in my life, you kill somebody and they gave you a dinner in Washington. They did. They made my birthday 12/12, Gianni Russo Day, because I went to a woman's defense and saved 150 patrons in my club. And they gave me an award. All my cousins are doing life somewhere, and I'm getting an award for doing the same thing they did.
Save some room for dessert.
Should we be concerned, Gianni?
Oranges in The Godfather meant death. Here we're eating with friends. Don't worry about those oranges.
Thank
Salute
God.
the Chindan.
God bless. Many years,
Thank
good
you.
health, please. Chintan.
Thank you.